Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to Nexus Gaming Series. I'm your host, DB Smiley, bringing you this Division A West matchup between Tainted Orphans and Minion Miners. Me talk good tonight. Tainted Orphans, couple of names we haven't seen in a while here. Bridge to Death and Scooney. Haven't seen them since Unemployed Gaming. Back in, I believe it was Season 7. Really, really good players. Really successful team. Going up against a team that's been here a while, Minion Miners, now up in Division A West. They're going to be a tough team for anyone to play. As we take a look at the standings here for Division A West, right now, I mean, we've only had a few games played. Regen Anomaly getting the domination over Wholesome Halfwits. Regen Retro going 2-1 over Phoenix Rising Ruby. Had that game in the bag, game 2, would have gone up 2-0, but just a really good rag core. Turned the game around for Phoenix Rising Ruby. And they get the series to a game 3. Still, though, won comfortably by Regen Retro in game 3. But now, we're going to see the last two teams in A West, get a preview of the last two teams, and I have a good feeling about Tainted Orphans. I think that they're going to be a really good team in this league, but I also think that Minion Miners ain't no slouch, and it's going to take a lot to beat them. As we take a look at the map pool today, bans right down the middle there, you can see them. BOE and Towers of Doom banned out by Minion Miners. Tainted Orphans not wanting to see Sky Temple or Braxis Holdout. And that takes us to NGS's favorite map. By far the favorite map in NGS. That's going to be Infernal Shrines. Tends to be Infernal Shrines and then Volskaya. I think the third most played is BOE, but I won't pretend to be certain of that. But just waiting for both teams to be ready at the moment. Looks like just waiting on a couple people from Minion Miners to kind of get settled in and be ready to go. Should be a fun set. Been previewing some players from Minion Miners here. We don't have, because I have the Season 8 data loaded in at the moment, we don't have any player spotlights for members of Tainted Orphans. Don't take that personally. You haven't played any matches yet, but Sir Mac and Cheese, best name in NGS. I think that's fair to say. Sir Mac and Cheese, great name. Very, very solid name. But yeah, we're going to hopefully get into this draft soon. We're approaching 11 o'clock. Haven't gotten there yet. But should be a fun set. So, fun story. I was drinking some beer, and my beer is a blue can. And I also happened to get some Baja Blast, which is also a blue can. And I accidentally poured a little Baja Blast, trying to top my beer off when I meant to pour in my beer. And so I thought, oh no, I've ruined it. You know what? It works pretty well. Not great, but we're going to get into draft all the same. Here we go. Tainted Orphans, Minion Miners, Game 1 here on Infernal Shrines. Nexus Gaming Series A West, last game of the last two teams to see play in A West. We haven't seen these two teams yet. A West is a new double round robin division, hence why it's so small. That means that this is only the first of 2 times these teams will play this season. Looking at it, Greymane banned right out of the gate. Always a popular assassin. Picked up often very early just because of his versatility. Very high popularity. Deathwing banned on the other side. Stats are a little misleading in terms of popularity because he was not actually available to play until later. ETC gonna get banned out. Strong tank, though Bridge to Death's pool is quite large. I don't think he's worried about getting choked out anytime soon, despite the ETC being banned out. Zul going to be also banned. Very powerful on the map. Straight into a Joanna. The most popular tank from Nexus Gaming Series last season. And, you know, it's a good tank into the next two you'd see up. Typically here you would see like a Garrosh or Mal'Ganis. Joanna's pretty good into both of them, as those are kind of the two most popular tanks left. Doesn't mean we'll necessarily only see those two, but I expect it will be one of those two. It's going to be the Garrosh. There it is. Garrosh Sylvanas picked up. I've never... Normally it swaps the people who picked up to the top. I'm kind of curious why there's a gap there for variations. I actually just find that amusing, that's all. But Garrosh, a strong pick. Keep in mind that when you think, oh no, there's a lot of minions around, he's going to throw them. For whatever reason, his toss doesn't affect monsters.
Anytime you're ready.
It only affects minions and mercs. And so, you don't have to worry about throwing the monsters here on Infernal Shrines. Rhaegar, exceptional on this map. Really going to be useful in terms of clearing up the lane as I fix a couple things here. Sir Mac and Cheese moving into that healing role. But Rhaegar, with his W, adds a lot of camp clear. As well as, which camps are big on this map, as well as a lot of shrine clear. There we see the Leo ban. Good solo laner, especially to pair with what they have so far. As Leo can just sit in the back line, get a Rhaegar W and stack it. Also good shrine control. Ana's almost a must ban with the Garrosh. Garrosh flip into an Ana grenade. I mean, almost always, whoever that hits, they're dead. So, really good choice there. Two more picks to come. It's going to be Blaze Lucio. So, Lucio is going to be the healer choice from Scooney. We did see a lot of Lucio from Scooney back in the unemployed gaming days. Should be able to just jump right back in, kick the rust off. Last two picks to come. They're going to have to grab a solo laner, but they now know what they're going against. They're going against Blaze. Maybe opens up something with the Leo down, maybe something like Malthael, maybe something like Imperius. It's going to be the Ragnaros. So Rag gets a lot of value on this map. Has the ability to finish an objective if needed with the Molten Core, as well as slow down the push of a Punisher with that Molten Core. Although, if anything, with the new patch changes, sometimes the Molten Core is actually a detriment to take. But how have I missed this? We have a Nazebo pick. Now, because games very routinely go to level 20 at this point, it's going to be likely that he's stacked. 3-lane map, he's going to be able to rotate. Question is, how aggressively do they stack? As we see Reaver finishing up this draft with the Falstad. So, lot of macro control here on the side of... seems something's going on here. A lot of macro control on the side of Tainted Orphans. The Sylvanas is going to enable the Punisher to get more value than it might normally would. You have Blaze, who's great solo laner, and then you have Falstad, who can rotate away, grab camps, maybe with Bribe. So excited to get into this game and see what these two teams do as we move here into game number 1. And introducing the teams on the left side. It's going to be Bridge to Death on the Garrosh, variations on Blaze, Scooney on the Lucio, Will to Live on the Sylvanas, and Raver is going to be on Falstad. It is Tainted Orphans. And on the right, the veterans of NGS. It's going to be Minion Miners. We're going to have Bruther on the Rainer, Sir Mac and Cheese on that Rhaegar. Down in the bottom, it's going to be Himibo on the Nazebo. And up in the top, Double Trouble, Wesker on Joanna, and Marshall going to be on that Rag. Level 1 talents coming in. As we look and see what they do. Looks like they wanted, or they anticipated the Sylvanas pushing in. I like Joanna being able to come in on the flank, maybe throw a blind out. And look at that. They commit a lot there, but in terms of time, but they're not going to be able to get that tower. Just only a tiny amount of damage there. Taking a look, though, Garrosh in the mid lane, already zoning out Sir Mac and Cheese. Falstad did fly down. I looked away at a bad time. And it's going to be Nazebo in the bot. Now, Nazebo did go Thing of the Deep. So he's going to be going for that stacks of Voodoo. If he can get 100 stacks, he's going to get quite a bit of spell power. Doesn't go Toads, which is common, but that's because on this shrine it makes sense. The Toads aren't going to get a lot of value if they're all getting stuck on the minions. Instead, spiders on the shrine fights are going to be his go-to tool. That said, Toads, no joke. Certainly with as much as Garrosh is going to want to play forward. The way to punish him. Right now up at the top, Rag and Blaze just having a party. Down here in the bottom, just in time to see Nazebo get picked off. And getting that Nazebo pick is huge. Only up to 20 stacks so far. It's going to be hard to stack when you're dead, though. And that's going to enable... We're going to see Tainted Orphans go ahead, grab the bottom siege camp. Now this time, Rhaegar pushing up in the mid. Going to help this Khazra camp step forward. And recognizing, like, hey, they're on that camp. I can go ahead, step up, get some chunk damage onto these minions. Make sure you get me some yummy XP globes. Num, 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 num. There we go. Still, though, pressure continues in this bottom. Himibo back. Trying to get stacked again. Needs to make sure he's getting stacks on those minions. Missed maybe a couple there that he could have grabbed. Otherwise, going to clean up this siege camp. Garrosh sitting in this bush, just looking for the bad rotation. Up here in the top. Still nothing happening. Anyway. Lucio, Sylvanas picking up their siege camp. That's going to get timed fairly well here. Let's see if they make a play for the Bruiser. It is going to be a top shrine. In this very, very exciting lane that we're seeing here. Zevo getting some last stacks. Up to 32. Wants to call his team to maybe like hold here. Make sure he gets his poison on all the minions. The 36 now. Push incoming though. Marshall was still in lane. Good engage. Good aggression with the Lucio with the speed boost. Kind of catch up to Marshall, put him in a bad spot. And that will likely be, given how early in the game it is, given that Nazeba is still stacking, likely going to be an Arcane Punisher heading over to the side of Tainted Orphans. Zebo just going for stacks. Garrosh trying to be annoying. And actually, here it comes Falstad. Bridge to death with some really good body blocks, but has to back up there because of the towers. That said, did deny Nazebo some of those stacks. Meanwhile, up on the top, my cat is meowing at me. We have Blaze and Sylvanas and Lucio still burning this objective. But, oh, Raver! He's dead on poison damage. He does not get the tap in time, and that is going to be a big kill. But now there is no one top to defend this, and already this tower's weakened up, and they have a Sylvanas. Rhaegar running top at the moment. But they want to keep Zebo stacking. That's the goal. Still, we get the Molten Core. The front wall is going to go down. He threw his Q out there just to help damage the Immortal a bit, but down he goes. Excuse me, the Punisher. Punisher now turning its attention on the fort, but it will survive. It's a good use of the Molten Core, but once again, Bridge to Death so aggressive with these body blocks, and you gotta give him credit. Guy knows how to body block extraordinarily well. Really kind of just... I mean, you typically don't see that level of body blocking even at higher levels of play. This is Division A, so this is pretty close to the top, but really some mastered quality, or heroic quality body blocks. Flip away there of the Joanna, recognizing, like, hey, that's a Joe, we don't need that. If it were a Rainer, certainly would have flipped backwards, but that's the decision-making that sometimes Garroshes suck at, and by that I mean me, back when I was tanking. Once again, though, focus down on the bot, and Garrosh is mounted, has to get dismounted by the Joanna to keep Rainer alive. There's a flip now, looking for the Joe, recognizes Iron Skin is down, and Will to Live is on the chase, along with Falstad. They secure the kill. Falstad, of course, is going for that bribe build. Marshall's in a lot of trouble. Will to Live on the chase. Slow Totem gonna bail Marshall out of that. Bridge to Death is low. But Zebo having to drop that zombie wall pretty early. Still, though, up to 76 stacks. Needs to hit, for level 20, I believe 175? Or maybe it's 225. I can't remember what number it is these days. It's a number that ends in 5. I think it's 175. But he's well on his way. Siege Camp gonna get grabbed here in the bottom, but Garrosh on the flank. Great knockback there by the Rainer, but he's still in not a great position. Flipped there, tried to look for the Rainer, ended up getting Joanna, so wisely backing out. And we're actually getting the zombie wall running in. That's gonna help, I think, just create more trouble for Garrosh to get the flip. Those extra minions can be thrown. But now we're gonna see Tainted Orphans get some focus here onto this bot lane. Meanwhile, Nazebo Rhaegar came mid, just trying to keep the soak running. Up here on the top, nothing continues to happen. Blaze actually rotating down at the moment. Might be going for a pick once again on Nazebo. Himibo's like, hey, they're off map. I'm fucking right off. Runs down to the bottom. They probably should have held minions for him just to help him get a few more stacks. Still though, at 95, level 10s here. It's a Lava Wave, Gargantuan. Rainer's Raiders actually the choice. Bloodlust, and it's Falling Sword rather than the Blessed Shield. There's a Gus pushing under tower. Falling Sword gonna help Joe get out. Bruther rotating down through the bottom. A couple interesting choices there. And for those wondering, Blust is actually the meta pick for Rhaegar now. When we've taken a look at NGS games, Ancestral is rarely picked, especially when you have a Rainer. And that's because the level 20 upgrade for Bloodlust is insane. Oh no! They haven't blown Bloodlust yet, and Sir Macacheese gets the Death Rattle Bloodlust off, but Rainer not really going to be able to do much with it now without the healer. They're still trying to step up, but the 12 seconds of Bloodlust is over. Oh, and Rainer is about to get separated. No, he has the knockback and manages to run away. Bunker comes out, though, forcing the disengage. 22 to 30 at the moment. Now it's about to be even, almost 30 to 30. But still, Falling Sword coming in now, looking, tries to get some damage onto Blaze. Blaze manages the jet charge out. They find the Lucio. Bridge to Death is low. He's going to fall 36 to 38. 37, 39. Mighty Gus comes in, but it's going to be Minion Miners grabbing this objective as well as a kill onto the Sylvanas. Great turnaround by them. They got low. They didn't have the Rhaegar, but they still managed to go back in, get the kills, and finish the objective. And now here comes the push. Himibo pushing up with his team, only at 106 stacks so far. Level 13s are now here, though. Has that ice block. Going to be very critical to his survivability. Great fight there by Minion Miners, and both teams played that really well, but Minion Miners just had that second level engage with the Falling Sword, and you know, with the shrine being so close, I think Tainted Orphans just maybe got a bit too hung up on the minion count and didn't get hung up enough on the Winion count, but variations coming in, forcing out the Falling Sword to disengage, but now Himibo is slowed with nowhere to go. There's the Bloodlust looking for the re-engage, but I don't think the rest of the team was ready for it. Wailing Arrow comes in, and Rhaegar is done. Rag was not there. That was a 5v4. They do secure the camp, but Rhaegar does go down. That's one of the downsides of Falling Sword, is one of the many downsides in my opinion, is once you use that Falling Sword, you are not going to be able to really do anything for 3-4 seconds. You're just going to threaten the enemy team, but you're not actually going to do anything. And there you saw the Falling Sword was great for the escape, but it left Rhaegar and Nazebo really with nowhere to go. And Rhaegar ends up having to be the sacrificial lamb. Zebo stepping up, trying to get stacks, but it's hard. You see this aggression from the Garrosh, and it's going to just make it harder and harder for Nazebo to stack. Only sitting at 119 so far. It's not a bad number, but given how much they seem to want to be committing to this Nazebo comp. You'd think he'd be trying to run bot to get those minions. They'd be holding minions for him on the rotations. We haven't really seen that. So he's only really been picking them up 7 at a time, and usually only 1 lane at a time. Not seeing the double soak typically you want. There goes the Gust into the Warlord's challenge. Falling Sword, though, does actually disengage it for a bit. Bruther is low, but Himibo still on the front line, jumps the guard. There's the Bloodlust, trying to secure the re-engage. They didn't get the kill. Wailing Arrow comes in, but late, just to force the disengage. Chase onto the Falstad, but he's going to be fine. A lot of ults blown, still no value, but the fight is not over yet. In comes the engage. Blaze trapped in the zombie wall. Guard completely not involved in the fight at this point. Good disengage there with the Falling Sword, with the Gargantuan, to make sure that Himibo could get out of that. Level 16 now here. Going to keep an eye on that stat count, of course, as we go. But that was a really good Gust Taunt combo. The Gusts have actually been really great so far. They've been offensive, but they have been absolutely effective. Still, though, need to be careful if you're on the side of Minion Miners. Don't want to commit too hard for this, but up to 140 stacks now. Given the duration from 16 to 20, I think Nazebo's going to be okay. If not to hit 175, at least be close enough as to make no difference. But still, they continue to pressure up with this poke. Bottom lane, pushing in, huge wave. You don't want to miss that. But at the same time, in the top, Bruiser Camp is going to take this fort. And so that whole time they're pushing mid, trying to get value, they're actually losing their fort top. And now you're seeing a real heavy engage. Blaze, though, under tower and actually getting the armor reduction. Here comes the Falling Sword, though. Rag comes in, has the swat onto Scooney on that Lucio. Lucio, though, still very healthy. There's the Mighty Gust trying to save Bridge to death. Rag trying to look for the kill, and he gets the kill onto the Garrosh. And now with the Bloodlust, they want this chase. There is no wall to fall back to, but looks like the rest of the team really didn't get the memo. Kinda not hard engaging. Like to see Rhaegar be maybe a little bit more patient with these Bloodlusts. Controlling the top lane at this point. Zevo is trying to stack those minions up to 150, so he's in good shape. Only needs 23 more. He'll get it. So I was worried there for a bit, but you know, he's been able to get enough minions to be close. Always worth, though, stacking even more Blood Ritual. Actually, Blood Ritual is an interesting choice. Going to basically be self-sustaining off those minions. Meanwhile, though, Falstad picking up both Siege Giants. Siege Giants are going to start pressuring up this mid. Falstad going for this bottom, but up here in the top, all Minion Miners is thinking of is we want keep, we want it now. The wall is down. Bridge to Death steps up, trying to get the disengage done. Falstad now starting to push in this mid lane, and it looks like Minion Miners gonna have to disengage this. Maybe disengaging a bit early, but worried about that Falstad Gust. If they get gusted under keep, that could go badly for them. So, instead, playing a safer route, getting some soak, and just trying to work on winning the race to 20 and denying the pressure of these camps. Although mid-wall took quite a beating there from the Siege Giants. Garrosh looking for the engaged top. Rag is nowhere to be seen. Falstad could fly in. Could turn into a 5v4 quickly, and so I think you're going to see Minion Miners just recognize that situation, just give this up. They can soak safely under the keep wall. Rag now rotating up. Needs to be careful as the front wall is down at this point. 169 on Nazebo. Yeah, he's going to have no trouble hitting 175. Wave stacking up here in the bottom. We'll need to get cleaned up soon. Next objective is going to be mid. Both teams fairly even in mid at this point. No walls on either side. But looks like Minion Miners wants to change that. They're going to go for this. Rag, though, in a bad spot. He actually is going to get flipped away. There's the Mighty Gust with the taunt. Wailing Arrow is huge, and Rag goes down, but here comes the Lava Wave, and that's going to help secure the kill on the Will to Live. And now Variation finds himself surrounded by miners. Not really sure how to get out of this one. Garrosh with the stun. There's the bunker. Now Garrosh trying to zone off the rest of the team. Looks like Lucio's jumped in as well, but this Garg is trunking this Biner. And Blaze is still low. Garrosh goes down, meanwhile, trying to secure something. Rhaegar up here in the front, looking maybe to re-engage, but the oil slick should stop that. That's a 2-for-1 trade, and you're going to see Minion Miners say, you know what? Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. These aggressive Gus are setting up good fights, but it seems like right now, Tainted Orphans having a hard time figuring out what to do after that first kill. And when Minion Miners doesn't make what I would consider a really bad positioning mistake, they usually seem to get the kills they want. Falling Sword trying to secure the kill onto Blaze and Scooney, but this keep is low. They can absolutely finish this with the Nazebo really quick, and there you see it, and they're going to walk away. Rag using the Lava Wave bot, trying to keep the pressure on to this bot lane. Looking like they might rotate mid now. Zevo does have Voodoo Ritual, and it is stacked. And so he's going to start really trucking. Lucio going to have a hard time dealing with that damage. He does have the Rejuvenesca to help out. But waiting on level 20. We'll see what 20s come in. Upgraded Lava Wave from Rag. Just even more macro control. Raynor has not picked this 20 yet. Storm Shield and the Falling Sword upgrade. Going to be the choices. Not going with the Bloodlust upgrade. That's tough because the range of that Bloodlust upgrade really negates any separation, and it's 18 seconds of Bloodlust, so kind of surprised that wasn't the choice. Trying to just make sure they have the burst mitigation. There you see the Storm Shield doing just that. Bloodlust now trying to secure the re-engage. Wailing Arrow does force Marsh to step out, but Variations only just gets the bunker off, but now he's in the middle of the enemy team, really with nowhere to go. Here comes the Falling Sword, trying to get on to Bridge to Death and Scooney. There goes Sylvanas, diving into the backline. Sylvanas is just popping off. She just did so much damage with those Banshees, and now with the Mighty Gust, it's trapped 2 members, but that's it. Himibo also turning around a ton of damage. Down goes Lucio, down goes Falstad. Looks like Bridge to Death might survive for the time being. Meanwhile, here in the bottom, Will to Live wins the duel. Like Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton did they duel. And in this situation, Falstad was Alexander Hamilton. Feels bad. Joe, still looking for the engage. Flip away from Bridge to Death saying, okay, stop looking. That was a bloodbath. Oh my goodness. But Will to Live actually saved that for Tainted Orphans with that just huge damage from the Banshee. That was going to go pear-shaped very, very fast. And instead, now they have a chance to get a lead on the Shrine while they're waiting for the death timers to end. Huge job by Will to Live. Raynor, don't worry. The caster noticed. Level 20 finally here for Raynor. $21-0. Sylv was up front. Needs to be a bit careful. Great position. Here comes the Falling Sword. Not really. I guess they're going to catch Blaze. But Blaze should get out. Oh no, there's the Bloodlust. Lucio and Blaze are in a lot of danger right now. Lava Wave is also coming top. So they need to be a bit careful. The chase still continues. They are going to get onto the Blaze. Garrosh is now just completely isolated from the rest of the team. And that is 2 for 3. Do they try to end, or do they go for this Arcane Punisher? Looks like the big scary Rudy core has scared them into Punisher. And don't blame them. Poor Scary AF. Poor Scary AF. Fast team, gonna clean this top up before it does any real core damage. But there's no keep wall. So this Arcane Punisher is incredibly dangerous at this point. As we take a look, it starts to march down the core. And Minion Miners, a lot of menace to this. And it looks like they're going to even get the keep down before the Punisher gets here. This could be GG for game number 1, but it's been a hell of a back and forth game. Lava Wave coming in mid. Mighty Gust trying to buy some time. Punisher under the core. Shield starting to fall. Here it goes. Falling Sword coming in. Shield is down 50% and falling. Rag now out of the Molten Core, but it's not going to be enough no matter how much damage they do. Minion Miner's going to take game 1. What a series by them. So Minion Miners takes game one. Early game definitely looked like Tate and Orphans was going to get some stuff done, but Minion Miners just counter engaged so well, and as much as I kind of jokingly shit talked Falling Sword, definitely got a lot of value in that game, enabling re-engages, especially on that bottom shrine, which is I think where the game really started to turn. That said, that fight in the middle of the game was amazing, and it was awesome, and I loved it. So I want to see more of that. Plus teams. Excited though to see where this series goes. Minion Miners gonna go up 1-0. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, everyone. Next is Gaming Series. DB Smiley here, bringing you what was a fantastic game one between Tainted Orphans and Minion Miners. Minion Miners turned the game around, though. They had some exceptional counter engages. We saw one of the bloodiest team fights I've ever seen. All in all, great game. Great game. Can't wait for game number 2. We're taking it to Cursed Hollow. Taking a look once again at the map pool. So Cursed Hollow was the map choice of Minion Miners. Tainted Orphans choosing Tainted Orphans choosing to stick with first pick. Minion Miners wanted first pick. They had won the toss. So Tainted Orphans choosing to take it as well. First pick, feeling pretty powerful right now. It feels like whoever's second pick, they have to ban Zul. They don't really get a choice. Blizz, please. That's all I'm just going to say about that. But looks like we're just doing a couple little quick bios, and then we're going to get set up here, get into the draft. Obviously, Cursed Hollow, a very macro-oriented map. A lot of potential for ganks and globals to get a lot of values, though. Yeah, little fluffy Satan, which is just a fabulous name. Good kudos on that. I agree. It's not my favorite map. My biggest issue with Cursed Hollow is that the two objectives that are bottom left and top right just feel like they're impossible to invade unless the game is already kind of pear-shaped for one of the teams. So I don't like that RNG can have such a big impact because of that. I think if they took out the retaining wall on both sides, maybe move the wall down a bit and have kind of a bit more open space around the objective, it wouldn't be so one-sided. But, I mean, they're not going to make a change to Cursed Hollow at this point in the game's life cycle. I've never liked that part of the map. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera. My bad. But, first game, very strong showing by Minion Miners. Coming back. They stacked in the Zebo, even though I was kind of naysaying it the whole game, so I kind of feel bad. Not going to lie. Apologies, Amiibo. Sincere apologies. This is definitely not a Nazebo map. If we see Nazebo again, I will be equal parts concerned and confused. Pardon me. So I apologize for breaking out. I was told we're almost ready, and then someone decided they needed a drinky poo, and so they decided to go get a drinky poo. I need a drinky poo. Hear how empty that is? So empty. And so empty. Feels bad. But looks like, alright, we're getting ready calls. And here we go. So jumping into this map, globals can be strong here. But you also get some heroes here that are extremely powerful, that are great at fighting left to right. Anna and Li Ming come immediately to mind. Boss control heroes very valuable. This is a map where Tyrael is still incredibly valuable for securing bosses. Faustad, we saw it in the last game. We saw some pretty aggressive Gus. But that's interesting. Actually, a Zul ban out of the gate from Tainted Orphans, suggesting they don't really want to play it. Abathur banned out as well. Obviously, this is a great Abathur map. Just the size of the map paired with, the importance of team fights on this map. Usually, most macro advantages are secured through winning a team fight around the objective. Deathwing going to get banned out as well. So, looking a lot like my Storm League games. Now, they're all the tanks are up. We could see a Garrosh ban if they're worried about it. Not the best Garrosh map, though, because there aren't really... There's a lot of... even though there's choke points, because of the left to right nature of the fights, you're not going to get really a surprise gank on someone. They're going to stick with that gray main ban, trying to keep the enemy team off gray main. Minion miners happy to keep that off the map. Raynor going to be the first pick, taking that away from Bruther. It's going to be Will to Live, who Sylvanas was available, and I thought he played a really sensational Sylvanas game. But Raynor also very strong on this map. Hyperion, a great zoning tool in the choke points where the fights tend to occur. ETC and Rhaegar. So wanted to stick with that Bloodlust combo, but go with the ETC even though Joanna was up. And it's actually a tank swap here. Himibo is jumping on to the ETC. He was the Nazebo in the last game, and Weskra was the tanking Joanna, so kind of a little role swap. And as you saw with the player spotlights between the games, Minion Miner seems to be in the middle of a few role swaps. But speaking of left to right fights, I mean, there's arguably one of the best tanks and healers for it. Joanna, extraordinarily difficult to dive past. Now, once you get behind her, if you can flank behind her, the backline's very vulnerable. Joanna has a hard time getting back. But Joanna, great pick into the ETC. And then Ana, just a fantastic healer on this map because of the way the fights tend to play out. Usually she can hang back fairly safe. So we're going to need to see some kind of dive on the side of Minion Miners in order to really punish the Ana. But Scooney, a very good Ana player. And they ban out the Kael'thas, not wanting to deal with the pressure that Kael'thas can put in the choke points. Generally on this map, I think of Li Ming generally as a bit more dangerous. So maybe we'll see that. Samuro banned, possibly something scouted that Minion Miners wanted to do. Maybe looking through some logs on Hero's profile. Anubarak is going to be... So they're going ETC off lane. So Anubarak Cassia. That's interesting. Haven't seen as much ETC off lane lately. But that said, you get punished less for not being able to clear the lane in the solo lane right now. It's far more about survival than it is about winning. And so the Anub is going to enable them to dive onto the Ana. They have the Cassia to follow up.
For the Alliance.
And there's the Jaina for the counter engage. I like that choice a lot. Last pick to come. Presumably some kind of assassin. Sylvanas has gotten through pretty far. And she actually can dive. Wouldn't be the worst choice in the world to me. Although, really, just any kind of damage, I think they'll be fine. In theory, Cassia can solo, but you don't need it. Li Ming, I like it. Gonna be able to chunk out damage from a safe distance. Variations, moving on to the Dahaka. He was very aggressive on that Blaze and actually did get punished quite a bit for his positioning in Game 1. We're gonna have to see if he can maybe, with that Dahaka, use that aggression to kind of set up picks for his team. Will be an interesting matchup. As the last couple details squared away here. But we had a really good game number 1. Really good. Looking at the drafts right now. I like the comp better from Tainted Orphans because I think it's safer. But we'll see how it goes once we actually get into the game. Because remember, games aren't played on paper. It's not tic-tac-toe or that really cool dot game that we all played as kids. On the left side, we're going to introduce them. It is Tainted Orphans. It's going to be Bridge to Death on Joanna, Variations on Dahaka, Scooney on the Ana, Will to Live on the Raynor, and Raver going to be on that Jaina. And on the right side, looking to close out this series, get an early domination victory against a really quality opponent. Minion Miners, Marshall on the Ming, Himivo in the bottom on the ETC, Sir Mac and Cheese on the Rhaegar, Reskra on the Anubarak. and Bruther. Gonna be on that Cassia. Very critical hero. Gonna need to finish kills. They can let Li Ming trade out, but there we go. Not really sure what that's supposed to mean. Two teams, though, getting into it. Obviously, a big rotation advantage to the Jaina comp right out of the gate. Not too surprising. Immediate rotation downward just to make it hard on ETC. And I like the idea of putting Jaina down here just to win the lane so hard that even the minions, even though they're going to die to the towers pretty quick, they're still going to get a little bit of damage in there, as you already see. Now Dahaka going to lane up against him. Raynor against the Nubrak in the top. Definitely would favor the Raynor on paper, and it's strange to me that they're putting both their tanks in the side lane and leaving their damage both in the mid. Meanwhile, we already see Rhaegar jumping onto the camp, Jaina jumping there. Rhaegar will do better on the camps as the game goes on, but before level 4, he has to burn a lot of mana to do it, and it's still fairly slow, so it's going to take him a bit to do that. Looks like we're seeing maybe a Cassia thinking about rotating top. Like, this is... It's a tough call. Are we going to go for it? Obviously, Westcrow trying to bait the Raynor back here, but I think the Raynor's not going to bite. Instead, we're going to see a rotation into the Bruiser camp. Jaina, Anna already on the Bruiser camp, so both teams doing really good macro rotations, pretty standard plays, but still requires good communication, good timing to get max value off those. We're going to get the timer starting now. Not yet, sorry, it's not 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes 30 on this map. Me forget. But Anubrak gonna have a hard time up in the top dealing with the Siege Giants. Dahaka similarly down below, gonna have a hard time stepping up to get the essence, let alone actually start to damage those Siege Giants. Looking at the level 1 and 4 talents, because we haven't picked those up yet, looks like we're seeing Ming go into a Q build, and that's always pretty exciting to me. That's going to rely on a lot of CC and the Anubrak and the ETC to get a lot of value. But if they can get a target CC'd and exposed, Ming could light that target up fairly heavily. ETC actually going with the speed metal over the more common larger knockback. Still though, interesting game. And Rhaegar actually going with totems rather than the W build that I think has gained the most popularity later. But ETC and Dahaka currently in the bot lane. Now Dahaka can go top, although ETC can make it hard. Dahaka may have to go all the way back to wall. Ming with a huge poke onto the back. It's going to make Raynor pop his adrenaline boost and heal up a bit and walk away. Sir Makachi's going to try to channel. There's the flashlight out from Joanna. She's going to step up. Grenade channels, and I think they're just trying to bait Dahaka into going top, recognizing the global situation. I think if they can stall out for a long time, get to level 10 when they can match the global with the stage dive from the ETC, I think it will go well. But there's a big sleep dart. There's the grenade as well, chunking out a lot of damage. But a lot of damage returned by the Cassia, by the Ming, and by the Rhaegar. And actually, it looks like we're going to see Tandor Orphans step back up. No, Westcrow maybe steps up too far there. Raynor on the chase. There's a burrow charge. Interesting angle on that burrow charge. Puts Westcrow in a bad spot. Meanwhile, Dahaka came in the back. All of that Li Ming, but no kills. And if anything, that is a huge win just to get out of that situation. But with the Ming, they can continue to stall. ETC has given them level 7. Westcrow so low has to burrow charge under his own gate to stay safe, but there's the tongue from the Dahaka, and that is one squashed bug. ETC double soaking at the moment, did go with the Echo Pedal to help with the soak, but that was actually a good stall out. Would have liked to have seen Westcrow just kind of, you know, give and let live, as it were. But we're already seeing Sir Makachi's move on to his objective, Raynor moving, or excuse me, onto the Siege camp, Raynor moving on to theirs. Both teams making sure to keep their camps in the lane. Anna down here in the bottom with the ETC. ETC just hanging back, playing safe. Recognizing like, yeah, I don't need to sell out for globes. I just need to get the minions. That's all I need to do. And I like that safe play. Let's see. This is so I would have expected on objective 2 for minion miners to give and try to soak 10s. But this is the position I was talking about where it's very, very hard to enter if you're on the opposite side of the map. Now, boss is going to be picked up here in the bottom. So it looks like they plan to give up tribute to try to get a boss. Unless they plan to have the Haka stalled. No, they don't. They're actually going to push bottom and just try to get as much value with this boss as they can, cleaning up these siege giants on the way. This top tower already quite low, so this boss actually has quite a bit of menace to it. Could easily get this fort here unless reinforcements arrive quickly. They are on the way. Joanna taking some damage from that tower, but not much. Rhaegar with a very aggressive rotation angle. Level 10s here for both teams, almost. Level 10s, Tainted Orphans slightly earlier. Jaina checking top boss. Maybe looking for a Cassia rotation.
Enough tribute this time.
You can see the bottom left channel position. Let's see how Tainted Orphans wants to play this. The boss has been cleaned up, but it has done quite a bit of damage to that bottom fort, taking out the entire wall. But meanwhile, we got the stage dive Disintegrate Cocoon. Bloodlust. Cassia has not picked a 10 yet. On the other side, Blessed Shield. Raiders, as opposed to the Hyperion once again. Nano Boost, Isolation, and Welly. And here comes the engage now. Now ETC's already in this fight. There's the Cocoon onto the backline. Raynor gets cleaned up extremely quickly. It's going to be Lightning Ball from Cassia, but she kind of goes in without the rest of her team. But Stage Dive onto the back finds Jaina right in the center. She has a hard time getting out. There's the Bloodlust trying to set up the re-engage, but ETC does have that ISO. Needs to be careful here. Cassia trying to check out the damage. Anubarak dives in the back to interrupt the Jaina. So much damage coming out. Now the focus on to Jo, and she's going to be the first to fall. Ooh, Raynor in a bad spot. Needs to be careful. There's the slow totem. Can they get the engage? Waiting on Anub. Anub goes in, but doesn't really have a lot of mana. Misses that burrow charge, but still, that's going to be a second objective picked up by Minion Miners. They're going to walk away from this one. Walk away well. Clean up their mid lane. They did take a bit of damage there. They are, however, on boss, or on Trib point. Their boss is available, but doesn't look like they're making any plays for it yet. ETC just using that Echo Pedal, clearing up this top lane. Jaina wanted to keep an eye on Minion Miners, see if they go for that boss. The next objective is in the bottom. So in theory, and it looks like that's going to be the play, we could see Minion Miners give up the objective and make the play for the boss. Although, given how low mid-fort is, I think they're giving up mid-fort as well to do this. And so you're seeing ETC trying to push up and start softening up these towers with his minion wave and his echo pedal. That said, this fort will be going down. Siege camp, though, I love this play. Being stolen, just saying, like, look, if you're going to leave the entire bottom of the map, we're just going to take it over. And that's the siege giant will take out this tower and make the next boss going to the bot lane that much stronger. Meanwhile, rotation coming top. They want this. Looks like they might be going for the very aggressive flank rotation. Dahaka could burrow in. Li Ming is not top. Dahaka coming into the top with the Brush Stalker. There's the Blessed Shield. Looking for Himibo. No, he does power slide out, but that's a disengaged Bloodlust, and you hate to see it, but it's better than dying. Still, though, fort goes down, and this boss actually still very healthy. Gonna need to be cleaned up on the side of Tainted Orphans. So, next objective, very critical. Both teams picking up some camps. See the siege camp being picked up. This boss does get a tower, so both teams down one tower in their opponent's boss lane. And this is going to be the battleground for our fight. Here we go. Both teams starting to make their way over here. Joanna and Noob already here. Joanna thinks about getting that aggressive bush position. Throws out a blind. Beetles, though, actually do a fair amount of damage to Jo. ETC going to join this fight with a stage dive. Dahaka might burrow in. Hard to tell if he has the burrow at this point. He does not. And so, Blessed Shield is a swing and a miss, and that's huge. They thought they saw Mac and Cheese ISO, and here comes the stage dive. Jaina out of the fight because of the cocoon, but they don't get the kill yet. Scooney able to get out of the fight with less than 100 health. Huge blind there by the Cassia, trying to truck out the damage. They do find the Nahaka heal. Jaina does die coming out of the cocoon, and Joanna follows, and that's going to be Minion Miners winning the first curse. And this could turn into a lot. They have a Bruiser on this bottom, already pushing in, ready to soften up this fort for them to rotate in. ETC heading to bot as well, wanting to get Catapult down here in this bottom lane to counteract the Catapult that is pushing on the side of Tainted Orphans. And that fort went down really quick. Li Ming going with full Q build, and we do have a glass cannon. So really, really looking to land those big Qs. Once we see, I expect Mirror Ball at 16. That could be a lot of damage. ETC pushing up the bottom. Raynor going to scare him off with the Raider. Do we see the invasion onto the Bruiser camp? We did see a burrow charge to get there. That means that cooldown is down. ETC power sliding in, trying to be like, hey, look over here, look at me. Yay, look at me. Boots back. Here comes the engage. Flank. Anna in the cocoon. There's the lightning ball trying to get onto Scooney. Lightning ball does spread. Raynor goes down. Meanwhile, Reaver going to be the next to fall. It is the root slow totem from Rhaegar for the level 16. This is actually a pretty old school build from Rhaegar. Sans the Bloodlust. Actually did not go cleanse. Just recognize that. Rhaegar did not go cleanse. Instead going grounded totem. Grounded totem. Meanwhile, if you're not familiar, if you're slowed by the totem, it reduces your auto attack speed by 40. So trying to get that onto Raynor. As now they turn their attention back to this Bruiser camp they left earlier, picking up the boss. Yeah, that's interesting. I've not really seen that talent. It does also increase the health of Totem, but that's not really the big deal. I mean, you still have to keep Raynor in it. They want to get this keep, but taking quite a bit of damage, and this is where you have to be careful with your noob, because if the Beetles attack the enemy tank, they are going to start shooting at you. As Bruiser finds out the hard way that the tower's hurt, Rescua also finds out the tower's hurt. Now Welly trying to enable a re-engage here, but Joanna did go down in that little spat. As things starting to look tough here for Tainted Orphans. But that said, they could turn it around with a single curse. They just have to win a team fight. Both teams are siege up. Looks like ETC's heading there for his team. Jaina gonna throw some stuff over the wall. Was just a safety check with the Frostbolt. Boss is up in 8. We could see a push on to this boss very quickly. It looks like that's what they want to do. On the other hand, Tainted Orphans approaching. Looks like Jaina's going to be out in front, which is a bit risky. This boss, though, is very low, and I don't know if... Yeah, they're not going to get there in time. Joe's going to try, but not able to get there in time. Looking for the engage, though. Goes in the back. There's the Blessed Shield. Trying to get the focus onto Cassia. Cassia is blinded. Bridgeteth wants this kill, but actually gets turned on. Still Bruiser, though, going down all the same to the Jaina. So, 1-for-1 trade, but it's Cassia for Joe. Bloodlust still available. The only ult not used in that fight. Could enable a re-engage here in a big way. There's the Bloodlust trying to get the kill onto Dahaka. Might have been a touch late. There's a tongue onto a noob, and Jaina secures the kill with the Blizzard, and that, ooh, Will to Live takes a huge chunk from the Li Ming. As Li Ming actually went into Fireflies, looking for more reliability as opposed to more damage, which, you know, I respect that choice. And so, with that, this is a curse now for Tainted Orphans, but they're going to have to get a lot done with it. They are going to lose this keep. And so, they need to get a lot done with this curse, but at the moment, it feels like they can't really figure out what they want to do on the map. They're not committing to any one lane. You got the Haka in top, you got these two hovering in mid, and now it looks like they might get picked off. Focus there onto Anna. There's the Cocoon. On to Jaina. She does get out. Welly's here. 5v4 situation. ETC come in with the stage dive, but not before Cassia dies. Now there's the isolation back onto the Ming. Could enable the re-engage. Keep in mind, towers are not safe haven at the moment because of the curse. Sir Mac and Cheese gonna lead the members on a merry chase, but he is not going to escape. That is the second death. That's about a 20-second stagger, which is a pretty big deal. But that said, the curse is ending, and they haven't gotten a single structure yet, only just now securing the mid-fort for that 15-minute curse. It's rough. They're going to try to take this bruiser, maybe push in with it. Top fort is probably going to survive, actually, because there's a catapult there now. Naka looking for the tongue, doesn't find it. Cassia, Rhaegar still down. Cassia about to come out of the penalty box. Rhaegar, 23 seconds left to go and counting. So they're going to push up, try to set up a win condition where if they can get some kills, they might be able to push in mid to end the game. That said, this core does not fuck about. This core, if you're not careful, is by far the most dangerous core in the game. 75 armor reduction. If you get hit by the core, which basically means the enemy can auto-attack you and you die. More or less. Not exactly, but kind of. Bruiser Camp gonna get grabbed. Looks like we might see an attempt to invade here, actually. This will be pretty aggressive, and they decide to back off. Rhaegar not close enough. Siege Camps into the lane top, Bruiser Camp into the lane mid, or the side of Tainted Orphans. Minion Miners wanting to look for some kind of aggression, I think. Once again, Rhaegar going with the Storm Shield over the Bloodlust upgrade. Here comes Joe, looking for the invade. There's a huge chunk of damage, and they manage to secure the kill into Cassia. Cocoon does come out, but it's broken almost immediately. Actually, it may have even been canceled by an ice block. I kind of missed what happened there. Storm Shield trying to get a noob out, but variations on the chase going to secure that kill, and that is huge for the side of Tainted Orphans. Getting those 2 kills. It's going to translate into them taking their boss, which will push into this bot lane. That said, still a bit down in the macro, and ETC going to be able to clear up these Siege Giants before they take this tower. It's going to be the bottom tribute. Nothing really that they need to fight over, but Ming up here taking this Siege Giant at the moment. Nobody really stepping up on the side of Minion Miners, recognizing the 3v5. That's going to be even more damage onto this keep, and you might see Tainted Orphans really pushing in for this one. Mid keep going to push. I love this decision. Push wherever the enemy is not defending. They have to defend mid. Cassia just now coming back up. But this mid keep getting annihilated, and now they can actually rotate and push with the bottom, so really smart macro play there. ETC pushing up at the top, does have the stage dive available if needed. Boss is up in 4 seconds though, great awareness on the timers, and if they can get this boss, they can really put a lot of pressure on the Minion Miners. Now with the mid keep down, that said, there's still, you know, a keep wall in the way, but that is the boss picked up. ETC did push this lane the whole way in, so someone's going to have to back to deal with it. Those 2 katas will hurt. That said, you know, mid keep throwing a little assist. Say, here, I got you, top. I got you. Just a little bit of pew, pew, pew. Gotcha. A noob currently up in the top. Looks like they might be leaving a noob to defend and ETC go bottom. No. Once again, Minion Miners, I'm not sure they know what they want, and we're going to see the hard commit to get this ETC kill, but he's going to get away, but Blessed Shield and Water Elemental were just used. This is exactly the situation and the time where Minion Miners wants to look for the engage, but they have to deal with this boss. They could leave the keep to deal with it, but at this point, Raynor clearing up the bottom. You see the focus onto the bottom, though. There's the stage dive, trying to get onto the Jaina. There's the Bloodlust. Jaina does go down, and this could be the chance they need. Running right past the Cocoon Drone on it, directly onto Ana. Now turning their attention. They want to get this kill, and as soon as they get this kill, I expect them to run for that mid keep to get it down and to go for the core. As Jaina, going to be down for another 40. They need to start heading there now, though. They're sticking around. The Invulnerable just buying time.
Earn my favor.
But what is Minion Miners going to do? Siege Camp being grabbed here. I will say that Invulnerable could make a big difference because Jaina now is going to be up in 30, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough. They don't have the best core burn, certainly. That's to be true, and Himibo actually taking a ton of damage from that tower. So Sir Mac and Cheese is going to have to do what he can to heal up, but there you see the minus 75 armor. I mean, just the Haka W absolutely shrekking at this point. Apologies for my mouse issues. Himibo does get the tongue. The core is down to 80% and falling. Will to Live looking for the kill, wants to find Himibo, now getting turned on, but Jaina is back up, and this is going to be a full disengage from Minion Miners. They do manage to find about 44% onto the core, but ETC is actually cocoon top. Bruiser is slowed at the moment, so that may be a bit premature. No, it looks like it's going to work out for them okay, so they do get a keep down, but they are unable to end the game, and, you know, people laugh about Invulnerable. Invulnerable got value there. I mean, yes, Joanna still died, but she bought her team a significant chunk of change in terms of time in order to enable them. I mean, that's a 4-second shield. And that shield absolutely bought her time bought her team time to get Jaina back up and to eventually force Minion Miners off this core. And so now we have a Spell Armor camp pushing here in the mid. Siege Camp, this would be the third time in a row it's taken by Tainted Orphans if they get this, and they do. That's the third time in a row. Yeah, Cursed Hollow Core does fuck, indeed. It is unpleasant. Blizz, please. A noob diving deep for that one. Gets slept. Could have maybe seen the re-engage, but I think playing it safe. Not really a great bush. Close game indeed. Tribute top. This is actually curse point. This is huge. This is something that because we thought the game, you know, the game can't get another curse. This is absolutely curse point, and you have perfect position right now if you are on the side of Tainted Orphans. And there's the Bless Shield, and Anubarak gets annihilated. They're going to have to get something off this stage dive, but ETC gets tongued right off the stage dive, and now it's a full retreat, and we might be getting a game 3 here. Still hard to end the game. As we've mentioned before, this core fucks, but they have a curse. Raynor does stay behind to get the curse, rather than just going straight to end. Shows the respect they have for this core, but they are going to take this bottom camp down, or this bottom tower down, and they're actually going to take the top keep. So this shows really just a ton of respect for the core here, excuse me. They are going to get this core down. Joanna going in. Excuse me, this keep down. So all 3 keeps are down now. Raynor pushing up. They haven't even really started on the core yet, and only now they're turning their attention to core. I'm kind of surprised that they went for all 3 keeps if this was the goal. But the combo, my goodness, secures the kill onto Ming and Rhaegar, and that was all they needed. Level 23, they can still take the core down. Goodness, well, great game. Great game once again. And we're getting blessed with a game 3 here. I mean, absolutely blessed with a game 3, because that was a hell of a match. But I will say that, you know, that's a situation where because they were on curse point, they forced that over-aggressive engage into the bush without vision. They managed to turn that into 2 kills, and they managed to go core as Minion Miners put up a good fight, weren't able to end. Weren't able to end when they had the chance. You can see just the damage that core armor did. We're going to get set up for game number 3 between these 2 teams. I told you at the beginning of the season, A West is going to be a murderer's row. It is being a murderer's row right now. You are seeing a row of murders as we speak. So, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Next gaming series. DB Smiley here. Game 3 alert. We have a Game 3 in this A West matchup between Tainted Orphans and Minion Miners, and it has been an absolutely fantastic match. Both games, tons of back and forth. That Cursed Hollow game, it just shows how hard it can be to end on that map with the core doing what it does. That curse onto a hero doing minus 75 armor is just so hard to push against. You saw Dahaka W scaring people off at that point. And normally you don't think of Dahaka W as being that big a damage. It's more just harass than anything else. But not there. Not there. Ultimately, I think you saw the macro be the big difference. Getting those two objectives because of their macro, because of the boss control that we saw out of Tainted Orphans, they were able to get the curse advantage. It panicked Minion Miners. They tried to engage too hard. Anubrak and ETC got ISO. They got killed. At that point, was all she wrote. So really good late game by them, but just an excellent game. And I mean, this next game on Tomb of the Spider Queen can really go either way. It's going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen. It's going to be our last map of the night, one way or another. Cannot wait to see how this game's going to go. Can't wait to see how this draft's going to go. Are we going to see that Rag again? Are we going to see the Zebo again? As Minion Miners currently arguing over who gets to be captain. What silly times we live in. Silly times indeed. But thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Tainted Orphans versus Minion Miners. It's going to be Minion Miners' first pick. Tainted Orphans picking the map. Now, we've seen Tainted Orphans first ban Zul. So the question for Minion Miners, of course, is what do you ban that isn't Zul? Because there's no reason to ban it. You can expect Tainted Orphans doesn't want to see it. And you also have first pick. So they're going to ban out Greymane. The advantage is this could open themselves up with something like a Sylvanas. But Deathwing banned out, actually. So they're going to have, I think, a lot of flexibility with this ban. Going to go with the Ana. Try to get Scooney off that. I don't really think the Ana was the issue in the last game, though. I'm kind of surprised to see the Ana banned. Certainly can be harder to get onto Ana onto this map. The lane depth is much shorter, so you can't just free dive like you can on Curse, where the lane depth is just so long. I mean, the lane depth on Cursed Hollow is just massive. Gonna go straight into the Joanna. Joanna, we saw it back in Game 1, not wanting to give it up again, and I think the Joanna was played very well by Bridge to Death. Keep in mind that Minion Miners does like to run this with the Falling Sword. Do we maybe see something like an Anduin, and to pair that up with a Light Bomb? Especially with the Junkrat, I think it's an option they can absolutely consider. As we see Junkrat, always a powerful pick on this map. The lane clear, the stall potential, it's just really good here. As well as just the vision control. I mean, there's a lot of bushes in some pretty tough places on this map. If you're not ready for an enemy engage. And then the ETC picked up. That's been the tank meta, it feels like. We did see a Garrosh game 1, but ETC going to be the tank here. Although we actually take that back. We saw solo lane ETC in the last game. And we're going to get the Nazebo again. So Himibo wanting to get right back onto that hero that worked out fairly well for them in Game 1. This is a map that's arguably even easier to stack Nazebo. And yes, Sir Mac and Cheese loving that Rhaegar. I expected the Rhaegar to be picked up there. Rag going to get banned out. Not wanting to see the same comp as Game 1. Where the Rag Lava Wave really caused a lot of problems. As well as the Rag Molten Core. Just made it hard to get value off the objectives. Kael'thas, gonna be the ban out. Denying a Wave Clear Mage, although Jaina is still available, and Jaina pairs exceptionally well with ETC, so I expect to see Jaina again. I think Raver will pick that up. Unless he wants to do the aggressive Flygus again, but I would expect a Jaina as well as maybe their healer here. I think they'll hold their off lane. Stukov, Zeratul. So trying to get onto Nazebo with the Zera, and then a Stukov pick. That one, I love the hero. Kind of a bit concerned with how he pairs with the Zeratul. Zeratul kind of wants to dive, and sometimes like self-isolate in order to get a lot of damage and pop out. Stukov's going to be having a hard time getting the heals on unless he pre-heals, which is of course possible. But love me some Stukov. Always love to see it.
Finally.
We have the Alarak. Haven't seen that tonight, but it's an impactful hero. When played well, it's very difficult to play against. So Marshall is going to be jumping onto Alarak. See if he can do some punishment there. We'll make it very hard for Stukov to drop E because of the Yrel and the Alarak. He's going to be getting knocked around, I expect, quite a bit. But there's the Leoric. And I think the Leoric could work out rather well. Leo always strong on this map for the wave clear. Being able to spawn in the middle of the map is huge because of the importance of presence on this map. And then, of course, this map pretty much always goes to late game, so you know you're going to get that buried alive. This map already rarely ended before level 20, and that has not obviously changed in this most recent patch. So here we go, game number 3. It's going to be between these two teams. The winner is going to be tied. Let's take a look at those standings right now. They're going to be tied at second place, if I remember correctly. Excuse me. Yeah, so the winner of this will be tied with Regen Retro. Loser will be tied with Phoenix Rising Ruby. Wholesome Halfwits just ran into a really tough Anomaly team, and that Anomaly team really separated themselves out from the pack in Game 1. But we're going to get into this game here as we start to introduce the teams. On the left side, it is going to be Tainted Orphans for the last time, Bridge of Death on ETC, Variations on Leoric, Scooney on the Stukov, Will to Live on Junkrat and Raver, going to be on that Zeratul. And on the right, Minion Miners, Marshall on the Alarak. We got Bruther down on the bottom on Yrel. We got Sir Mac and Cheese once again on the Rhaegar, third time in a row. Wesker on the Joanna, and Himibo once again on that Nazebo that we saw in game number 1. Level 1 talents coming up. Alarak going with that telekinesis. Thing of the Deep, once again the choice. Otherwise, pretty much the same talents we saw before. Consume Vitality being the choice for Leo over the, I can't remember the name of it, but the healing off minions, which normally you'd expect to see on this map. But Yrel cleaning up this bottom lane at the moment. Leo on the way down, looking to get a slow out, maybe try to find that W. Finds it. Good knockback, though, and expect that to be the common play. But a great concussion mine separates out Himibo. Still, though, not really able to secure the kill. But that's going to help them getting a lead in these rotations. Looks like they're going to rotate mid. Zebo actually trying to also get mid. Getting the stacks there. And of course, 175 is that magic number that we are going to look at. Oh, hey mate, how you doing? Yeah, it's my grad school roommate in chat there. Yeah, I actually picked this up after Star Wars: The Old Republic went bust. Well, it's not to go bust. It's still there. I just got tired of playing the same raids for 3 years in a row. Game went 3 years without new raids. It was rough. And even then, they only released the raid like one boss at a time. But rotations, as you see here, Joanna gonna have the root. Trying to just chunk Joanna a bit. There's the power slide. Good silence there onto the Rhaegar. Does throw the heals out, but I love the way we're seeing Tainted Orphans try to just be bruisers here, push up, make it uncomfortable for Himibo, make it hard for Himibo to stack. And there you see, I mean, Himibo having a hard time doing it right now. Needs to get to that 175 stack, but here at level 4, only at 36. Despite this being Tomb, where you'd think this would be a situation to be easy to pick up minions, but doing the best he can with it. It seems, though, like Minion Miner's just really not comfortable committing to anything at this point. On the other side of it, though, Leo, Urel, still just doing solo lane things, just being annoying. Once again, great interruptions. I love this trap positioning. It's just everything about it is making life miserable. And now you got the trap that's actually running along the ground. How's the teaching? It's going well. End of the semester, so I actually have an exam that has technically started 21 minutes ago. It's been a rough term. So I actually just to catch up on my life, I taught at one university for 3 years, but then I left and took a job at another, which I'm being vague just because this is, you know, personal information and that. But so I've been moving around a bit, but I'm happy where I am now. Oh yeah, I got married. Minor detail. Yeah, actually, I managed to get affiliate casting Heroes of the Storm. Although, admittedly, the game has taken a dip in viewership since. We'll catch up after the game. I want to keep the attention here. Level 7's almost here. On the side of Tainted Orphans. Still half a level away. And there you just see, I mean, the value of disrupting these rotations. That said, Nazebo right back on track, 62 stacks, doing well now. But this trap positioning has just been so fantastic. Rotating back down now. Here in the bottom. Urel actually quite a bit low. Gonna have to back up. Try to go for the gank onto Urel, but rather hard to do that. Now, clear going top. Zebo is at 74. But this is a blue Web Weaver phase, so Tainted Orphans draw first blood in this respect. Still though, no need to panic on the side of Minion miners. They have plenty of gems in their possession. They can turn in after this phase. So they'll be alright, they just need to get the good defense there. Joanna need to blow that Iron Skin off the Concussion Mine. That Concussion Mine is such a dangerous tool. Especially paired with this ETC, it can really lead into just dramatic separation. But, ooh, Rhaegar is getting isolated there. Does get rooted. Concussion Mine, though, buys him space. The chase is on. Rhaegar... Oh, no! He didn't mean to lunge. I know that feeling. Oh, no. I know that feeling. The feeling when you lunge when you really, really didn't want to lunge. I teach intro programming. I teach like an intro data structure software engineering class, and I'm teaching a software engineering class at the moment. Tries to go for Concussion Mine to Marshall. Doesn't quite get around with the power slide. Kind of body blocks Alarak closer to safety. Sometimes that can happen with the max range power slides. Still a good attempt, but great vision control here on the side of Tainted Orphans. Minion miners really hard pressed to get these 59 gems they have turned in, and actually turn in now available for Tainted Orphans. And if Will Live and Scooney get these in, which they will, that's going to be a double Web Weaver phase. So far the early part of this game has been all Orphans. Minion miners just really having a hard time kind of even pushing out. And, you know, the Alarak going to have a hard time doing that. There's a power slide trying to get onto Marshall. Here comes the Riptire looking for the damage. Riptire goes over the wall, but it dies. Didn't blow up. Maybe it was trying to go for the perfect and let the perfect be the enemy of the good there. Hate to see it. Meanwhile, though, Leo just bullying Urel here in this bot lane at the moment. And there's the slow with the W, so a lot of chunk damage going to come out from that. Cannon tower goes down, and so now here comes ETC pushing. He does have the mosh, but he is getting hit by that cannon tower. Falling Sword does get off thanks to the Iron Skin, and Bridge to Death is going to drop. And there you see the power of this new patch. where these League of Legends-like towers just absolutely destroyed ETC. You know, Power Slide still does damage, and it's not just a stun, and so it can be rather problematic when you Power Slide in like that. Obviously, the Falling Sword making a huge difference there. And I like what Rhaegar's doing, just go ahead and eat that trap for the time being. Meanwhile, Stack Watch 2020, 124 stacks. So Nazebo in very good position to... Oh! I missed that. T-Tor's in chat. Variations. Going for Bruther, but Bruther does manage to get away. Bruther, though, holding 34 of the gems, but does get enough in. But now they're engaging 5v4 without their Yrel here. This is an incredibly risky engage. Flailing Swipe Out kind of isolates Joanna, and there's the VP. ETC power slides in, but the power slide does continue after the VP. That was inconsistent for a long time in this game, so I never know how that's supposed to react. But there's the power slide. No, it was a separation, sorry, from telekinesis. Power slide back through. So despite the 4v5, they managed to chunk out some good damage and force Tainted Orphans to back up, but now need to be careful. Yeah, no worries. I enjoy talking software engineering. It's been weird teaching online. This is obviously not the stream I use for teaching. Ooh, there's the power slide in. Looking for Yrel. Yrel does get out. Gets the help from the Rhaegar, who did go cleanse this game. And Leo actually going to go down there to the Alarak with the lightning strike. So great kill there. And that should enable the double turn in here. As Joanna did back, has 10 gems. But actually don't need Joanna to turn in. I think if they get Alarak and Yrel, they're exactly one short. So they need Alarak and someone else to turn. Ooh, there's the power slide in, looking for Joe. Joe actually taking a tower shot there, so -5 armor. There's the weighted pustule. Riptire coming out, gonna force the disengage. There's the entomb. Falling Sword. Marshall with the counter strike, though, is protected. That Riptire didn't get a lot of value, but there's a huge VP from Zeratul. Are they going to use that re-engage or disengage? Re-engage or disengage? Here we go. It is actually disengage. Which makes sense. They had blown the Riptire, which was their big damage. ETC was kind of in an awkward spot. You probably want to disengage that. Yeah, I mean, I you know... That was, I enjoyed being roommates with you. I know I'm a stubborn jackass a lot of the time, but sometimes I miss the old days. Having money is nice, though. I'm not gonna lie. Having money is, rather nice. I don't miss the paycheck, that's for sure. That said, I mean, Notre Dame was good gigs. Sorry, I'm giving away too much personal information there. Sorry about that. But Minion Miners now with a chance to get back in control of this map. They aren't turning in just yet, trying to get their Bruiser into lane. If Alarak gets the turn, that is enough. Joe would only get them to 50, Alarak would get them to 55, and he would have 1 to spare. So they need to find a way to get Alarak turned. Meanwhile, Tainted Orphans, only 6 gems away from getting a turn in themselves. Rhaegar, Yrel, do grab that siege camp at the bottom. Alarak hasn't really made a concerted effort to turn in, though, and I think they're getting to a point where they're gonna pay for it if they don't get Alarak turned in. Now they're having Sir Mac and Cheese turn in. He's gonna get interrupted at the last second. Here comes the Riptire. Once again, Riptire coming out very early in these situations. Yrel, I believe, has Ardent Defender. There's the VP. There's a Mosh right next to the VP. It's actually a good combo, but does get interrupted all the same. Yrel is very low. Actually did not have Ardent Defender. Excuse me. So does go down there. Now trying to run away as best as they can. Leo comes in. Turnaround, though, from Alarak. Now Variations is low, but just so much self-sustain. And this is falling apart here for Minion Miners. And Marshall goes down, dropping those critical gems. And you got to wonder if Alarak maybe just made a concerted effort to turn in earlier, maybe while there were deaths, instead of just focusing camps and things like that. I think this could have been a better situation for Minion Miners, getting that double turn, but now they're getting their third turn against them. They've only had one themselves, and bot lane is going to spawn deep. So they can basically kiss mid fort and top fort goodbye at this point, because they're going to have to contribute or commit so much to clearing up this bot lane. Mid fort goes down. Rhaegar clearing this up. It's only Joanna clearing up the bot lane. Both teams pretty heavily split at the moment. Zeratul kind of away from the rest of the team. Doesn't have the VP up yet. I expect him to rotate up, though, as the VP cooldown is starting to come back up. The VPs this game have been absolutely incredible. That last mosh next to the VP should probably play the game in this series if it would have landed, but it did get interrupted fairly quickly. Still, though, a good fight for them last time, and a good chase down the corridor to secure the kill onto the Alarak. Web Weavers do go down. They save all three of their keep walls, but only just. And actually, Yrel leaving this catapult here, which is going to finish off the tower, actually. Down it goes. Boss play, imminent. There's the, looking for the root combo, doesn't quite find it. There's a VP, ETC power sliding in. Here comes the Riptire, looking for the cleanse on the back. Still no kills, though. Rhaegar with a good cleanse there. Now Bruther trying to get onto the back line. Flailing swipe to separate out the Yrel. Yrel all over Junkrat at this point, but Marshall himself getting quite low, and Rhaegar actually used the self-ancestral there, so didn't have the heal to save him. Now Himibo trying to get away, but Himibo's going to go down. And looks like at this point, as we see Bruther getting away down here, looks like at this point this is Tainted Orphans game to lose. As they are going to start this boss. Joe going to get a turn, get Web Weavers at least pushing the other lanes out while they have to defend, but this is a big commitment of gems. That's a message I haven't heard in a while. That's going to be a big commitment of gems. I mean, because, yeah, they'll get some defending here, but, you know, they're going to have to turn all those gems in again, and it's been hard for them to get the gem turns. Boss going to start being cleared up. The Web Weaver actually being pulled back by the boss, now walking away. I don't think I've ever seen that interaction before. I mean, these Web Weavers getting cleaned up instantly. You know, it buys them time, but they are losing the race to 20 fairly significantly here. It's easy to say they should have gone Keat, but it's really hard anymore. I mean, even 5v3, it's really hard to push a keep at this point in the game. Granted, they don't have the best defenders with Nazebo being dead there, so maybe they had a chance. Level 20's almost here on the side of Tainted Orphans, but looks like there's no race to really get into a fight here. Both teams very close to gems for a turn-in. It would be a pretty crazy fourth turn-in if Tainted Orphans can get their gems in. Zeratul going to hang around top, not trying to show, though. Seeing the team bot, I imagine he'll clear the lane and then try to drop his gems here. Tainted Orphans just trying to look for the members of Minion Miners. And you just see, I mean, where the two teams are on the map. Tainted Orphans way up here, keeping tabs on the vision points, getting the gems. Meanwhile, Minion Miners just has to be so sheepish, and that's just because of this massive, massive level 20 advantage. I want to know about those Colonel Pantsy Yummy. Oh, the VP catches two. There's the P slide into the Riptire. Silence underneath is on Joanna, but she gets the Ancestral, gets out. Ardent Defender has to be used early by Yrel, though, because of that Concussion Mine isolation. Still, a lot of ultimates were committed there. Not really much value off it, but this Web Weaver is spawning in the shadow of this mid keep. Junkrat can poke it down very safely from a distance, so you know you're gonna need to see at this point some kills come out. And that's really been the problem in this game, which you wouldn't expect with an Alarak. But oh, speaking of Power Slide, Counter-Strike is there. Does Telekinesis out, and actually that was extremely well played by the Alarak. Great re-engage by the Joe. Zeratul really wanted to get some damage out. Leo actually doing a good job taking tower shots there, so Zeratul could go aggressive. But they managed to clean up that Web Weaver. They're heading to clear bottom. Top has gone down. ETC goes in with the mosh off the blink, but he actually he's going to survive. And Nazebo goes down before they can hit level 20. This might be the game, as both the damage dealers for the side of Minion Miners are down. Just got to dodge the wave, not take that core damage. This core does hurt now. Yrel going in, just trying to buy any time that she can. There's an Entombed. Falling Sword going to be used to get out of it. Level 20 still not here yet, but they're not getting any damage onto the core at this point on the side of Tainted Orphans. Now ETC separated out from the rest of the team, and I just turned down the volume on my headset accidentally. There we go. Lava Wave, or excuse me, the Spider Wave comes out, doing some damage to Leoric. The core is now taking damage, but it's taking damage very slowly. There's a Power Slide. They're trying to get onto the Joanna. She pops the Iron Skin. She's going to get back. Yrel doing as much zoning as she can. Alarak and Nazebo are up in 5 seconds. This is an incredible core defense if they can almost pull it off. Alarak needs to come in, make a big play. There's the Iron Defender in the backside, and this might be the defense. Here comes the Deadly Charge. No one in range of that. Probably waited a bit too long to pop it, or popped it maybe too early and couldn't really move. But now the Falling Sword's going to enable a re-engage. If they can get the kill on the Scoonie here, that might be what they need. They are very low, though. Zeratul popping the VP, and he might be looking for this Joe kill. No, he recognizes, hey, I'm kind of isolated. This is a bit awkward. Team. And it's going to be the keep actually goes down mid in that time, but it's going to be a disengage, but the core is still standing. But this is a point where you can't give up anything. If you give up boss, the game is over. If you give up a Web Weaver, the game is over. You need to get a Web Weaver phase, but you need to get value off it. You need to have things pushed in. And it looks like they want to make a play for this boss. Are we going to potentially see a back door here on the side? No, they can't even do the boss because they recognize, look, this core is so low, they can just walk up and take it. And so now they need to look for a fight. It's really their only opportunity. They're going to go in. There's the stun onto Yrel. She is completely lit up. Wesker jumps in with the Falling Sword, but just dies as well. And not the fight they wanted. And that game just really having a hard time securing anything in terms of kills on the side of Minion Miners. Now Himibo just going to run through the gate, but that is going to be it. And with that, the only truly new team in A West this season is going to secure their first win here in the Nexus Gaming Series. Himibo is going to stay alive, so good for the KDA, but that is it. Game, set, match. Victor's Tainted Orphans. And Tainted Orphans really in control of that game from start to finish. You just never really saw Minion Miners able to secure kills. They just had a hard time getting their damage out. I mean, Alarak really had a hard time doing anything against this ETC. Every time he stepped up, you saw the VP come in. And at that point, he was just using Counter-Strike and Telekinesis almost defensively all the time. So with that, we're going to see if we can get a post-game interview. We'll be right back in just a minute. Thanks for watching. Welcome back, everyone, to the Nexus Gaming Series. DB Smiley here. I am joined by the captain and tank of the victorious Tainted Orphans, Bridge to Nowhere. Bridge to Nowhere. Great to see you back in NGS, man.
Oh yeah, of course. It's great to be back. You want to go into every season with the best mentality you can have, and we kind of took a break. I took a break personally, but I saw that we had our team that we wanted to get together, and so we just came in here, just wanting to play and wanting to win.
Yeah, you and Scooney back from Unemployed Gaming. You guys had a good run there, but really good to see you two back. I'm glad you found some really good cohorts to work with. Heading into this series against Minion Miners, a team that's been in NGS a while, what kind of things were you worried about from them? What did you think you were going to see, and how did you prepare?
Um, we just did a lot of practice, a lot of scrims as many as we could. I haven't really known a lot about the Minion Miners personally, just because I haven't been following
Mm-hmm.
NGS as hard as probably some other people have. But we knew that they were someone that we couldn't take lightly, um, and that we had to go into it as best as we could. Just do what we can to get as comfortable of drafts as we can, so that we can execute whatever we wanted. And the first game didn't look like that for
Mm-hmm.
us, so we just reset and then got what we wanted, and eventually it worked. And then we just built on that and took that momentum. So
Yeah, game one,
it
you
is.
guys managed to get some picks early, but kind of had a hard time finishing late. What do you most attribute that to? Do you think in game one?
I mean, that game one was hard to do with their comp because it was so stally to
Mm-hmm.
20, dealing with the rag and the Nazebo. We did have a better early game, but the minute that they started scaling late game, it was really hard to do anything
Mm-hmm.
against them because their 20s are just so strong.
Right.
And just that offlane XP that rag can get with Lava Wave is just really difficult to deal with.
So
But yeah,
game two, Cursed Hollow, really back and forth game. But
mm,
you guys get into a situation. I mean, they're pushing your core, and they actually are
mm,
starting to get damage on it. How do you kind of regroup the team there, and then not only go from that being down two keeps, core down at half health, to actually winning the game? What were the things that you think you kind of used to not to kind of tilt the balance back in your favor after that kind of, we'll call it a low point in the game in terms of
mhm.
where things look their bleakest for you?
It was just kind of about resetting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, once we defended our core and it was left at 56%, we knew that we had to hunt because we were so far behind structure-wise
Mm-hmm.
that we had to find fights that were advantageous for us and that we knew that we could win. And we kind of readjusted. Our Dahaka started landing his isolations too, and
Mm-hmm.
that was big in team fights. Those were huge.
Yeah, you got a couple on
You
the
know,
Li Ming, which is just massive.
Right, huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and just being able to position after winning a team fight, getting the looks that we wanted, it was just easy from that point to just pick a target and blow it up with Winter Mute and Nano. So it
Yeah.
was just really about resetting mentally, just kind of figuring out what we needed to do as a whole, as a team, and then just executing that. Just looking for the fights that we wanted.
And one thing I would say is I think you guys put yourself also in a good position from the standpoint of you were still getting the curse tokens, and so when it
Mm,
came down to that end of the game, I mean, you guys got you couldn't have asked for a fight to start better for you. I mean, their team was stretched out. A noob had to
mhm.
race ahead to try to get the interrupt, and I mean, from there you guys just you get the 2-3 kills, and you're like, all right, we'll go core.
Yep,
Um,
absolutely.
Opinions on Cursed Hollow core
Uh,
mechanics.
So it's one of those where it's, if you're not paying attention to what's going on, like, if there are heroes that can stall, like, I know at the when they were rushing our core, our Dahaka hit a big contagion, and that kind of kept them from seeing what was going on. And that 75 reduction on armor
Mhm.
can be extremely scary if you aren't paying attention to it. So Rainer was able to, poke them down to get them to a point where they had to back up, or else they would just wipe. So I think it's strong. It's interesting. It's really easy to dodge if you can see what's going on,
Mhm.
but at the same time, if you're
Right.
getting
If there's a
pressure
lot
on
of
you,
chaos on the ground or there's pressure, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, so it can be strong. It definitely, I mean,
Mhm.
it showed itself there in our
Yeah.
game. It obviously is something not to be taken lightly.
I
So,
almost wish it were the perfect color. I think for, and even the perfect animation almost for it to be. And I know it wouldn't really match the theme of the map, but would be like the Towers of Doom boss animation. Because then it's like,
mm,
hey, shit's about to happen. Move your shit.
Yeah.
Like that, because
Yeah.
that's what it should be. Because it's minus 75 armor. But
Right.
anyway, I mean, obviously, and then from there, I think Tomb. I mean, you guys controlled the game. You controlled the rotations. I mean, you
Mm.
dominated the rotations in
Yeah.
the early game, but you never. It felt like you never left. Like you never went to the left of the map after middle
Mm.
game. Like you lived on the right side of the map. Like, what do you attribute that to? The ability to just control maps so well on Tomb.
So for that map specifically, Junkrat is just so
Mm,
good at doing that. I mean, you're forcing the Johanna, the enemy team tank, to walk into traps so that they can actually rotate.
right.
And then if that's happening, then we're able to put pressure on them with Zeratul because that combination, Zeratul being able to go and follow up traps and then get out as soon as he wants to,
Mm-hmm.
is is really good for controlling rotation. So I think the Junkrat and the combination with the Zeratul on that was just so strong. It just helps you on rotations because it just
Mm-hmm.
forces them to play slowly. So I think that's kind of what that helped us. And then once we got that advantage, we got that first and second turn, and then we were able to just constantly keep putting pressure on them with that. So it helped out a lot. The Junkrat and Zeratul for sure.
All right. Well, with that, congrats on the first win back in NGS. Go ahead and any shoutouts?
Oh, I got some shout outs. First shout out is to the caster, you,
Thank you.
because we appreciate you giving us some feedback and letting people watch it from a different perspective than the people that are playing. It really helps let people get into the game. So shout out to you. Shout out to Ravar, our actually former coach, mine
Mm,
and Will to Lives. He actually coached us in what was it? What was it? What was that thing called?
uh,
Oh, it was a program that helped players like get better at hot. Oh my god, I can't remember. I'm blanking.
yeah.
Anyways, we found him there. Um, Shout out to him for being a coach to us and helping us get better. Shout out to Scooney for being a Ana one trick because that's all she wants to play. She never wants to play anything else. She doesn't even want to play Rhaegar because she says she doesn't like the way it plays. But we kind of have to force her to go into
Yeah.
those picks that we want. Shout out to Will to honestly being the most toxic person that I know today. And I've met a lot of people. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of people on this game. And Will is on another level if you poke him enough. He's like a just little grizzly bear. He's a grizzly bear hibernating until you get him riled up, and he will go off
Fair enough.
intensely. Shout out to Matt for always having background noise if he's not on push to talk because he has to use speakers because he doesn't have a headset. That kills me every time, but I love Matt. Shout out to him for being our solo laner. He does a good job. Shout out to mom and dad because I wouldn't be here without them. One up. Shout out to NGS in general for letting us, have a platform for us to enjoy a video game
Mhm.
that we all love. You know, keep continuing
All
it
right.
even past HGC and everything
Mhm.
is really helpful.
All right. Well,
And
thank you
good
for
for me
that,
too.
and thank you for this interview. And with that, we're gonna bring this night to a close. I'm gonna throw it over to Maestro